the race lady from MSNBC finally putting her Harvard degree to work. It's simple, she said. Just charge people who don't get the vaccine with felonies.
Now the vaccine-resistant Trump crowd is becoming a problem for the rest of us. That's because the country is fast approaching a tipping point when vaccine hesitancy will become the biggest hurdle to achieving herd immunity. So after a while, so-called vaccine hesitancy might be better described as reckless endangerment.
Oh, wait a second, Harvard-educated race lady. Now you're really confusing us. If you've gotten the vaccine, why is other people's refusal to get the vaccine a problem for you? If the vaccine is so effective, why are the people who choose to get it mad at the people who choose not to get it? Huh? Do people who've slimmed down from gastric bypass yell at fat people on the street? You wouldn't think so. It's not really their business. Your body, your choice, remember? But your body, your choice is definitely not the standard with the COVID vaccine. With the COVID vaccine, it's your body, MSNBC's choice. Watch this guy explain.
I don't know how we get to herd immunity unless we normalize the framework around vaccine certification. Listen, we're doing it in colleges. Some organizations are doing it. We're in a global crisis. We have to reach herd immunity. And the carrot and stick of you get the vaccine, you'll be able to participate in travel, restaurants, you name it, because that's frankly easier for small businesses to adhere to.
Herd immunity? Boy, it seems like not so long ago, maybe it was back in the 50s or like last week, that using the phrase herd immunity was enough to get you yanked off the air as an anti-vaxxer. Now we're bragging about herd immunity. But again, people who've got the vaccine and are totally safe are angry at the people who haven't gotten it because somehow they're endangering the people who are already vaccinated. So to protect people who voluntarily taken the risk of not getting the vaccine, we have to hurt those people. We've got to burn the village to save the village. As the doctor on television put it, we've got to use the carrot and the stick, but especially the stick. Colleges love this idea. Many of them are requiring proof of vaccination as a condition of return to campus in the fall. In the state of California, both of the big state school systems, University of California and the Cal State system, are forcing students returning to campus to prove they've been vaccinated. Schools in New York, places like Columbia, Fordham, Syracuse, the big ones, are doing exactly the same thing. What's interesting is that no one has bothered to explain why we're doing this. Virtually no college-age kids have died of COVID. In fact, according to an April report by the CDC, a total of 587 Americans between the ages of 15 and 24 died of the virus last year, most with profound underlying health conditions. Many times that, thousands and thousands and thousands died of suicide over the same period, which we're not concerned about. In the state of Michigan, which now requires 2-year-olds to wear masks outside, there were just 13 coronavirus total last year for people aged 15 to 24. Compare that to overdose deaths in Michigan. It's a tiny fraction. Not that we care about those either. So the coronavirus doesn't kill a lot of young people, but it does infect quite a few of them. And that's the other problem. Many thousands of college-age kids already have been infected. They have antibodies from previous corona infections they're now recovered from. Science suggests these kids are highly unlikely to be reinfected with COVID. So why are they being forced to get the vaccine? That's a serious question. That's not an anti-vaxxer question. That's a question people who support vaccines and care about them would ask. Because we don't give medicine to people unnecessarily. That is unethical. Meningitis, for example, kills a fair number of people every year. But we don't require everyone to start a regimen of antibiotics before they return to work. That would be crazy. It would be wrong. We wouldn't do it. But we are requiring universal vaccination even of kids who have already been infected. Is that a medically sound idea? Some physicians are concerned that it's not. Joe Rogan over on the podcast voiced his concern on the air the other day, and here's what he said.
People say, do you think it's safe to get vaccinated? I've said, yeah, I think for the most part it's safe to get vaccinated. I do. But if you're like 21 years old and you say to me, should I get vaccinated? I go, no. Yeah. Are you healthy? Are you a healthy person? Like, look, don't do anything stupid, but you should take care of yourself. You should, if you're a healthy person and you're exercising all the time and you're young and you're eating well, like, I don't think you need to worry about this.
Yeah, so if you're at risk, get the vaccine, protect yourself, be happy with it, be grateful we have the vaccine. And if you're not at risk, maybe you don't. Is that a crazy point? Oh, yeah, it is. That's crazy. Joe Rogan's idiotic advice. Healthy young people don't need COVID-19 vaccine. steered a representative headline in the dailybeast.com, America's foremost defender of ruling class absurdities. You'll notice that the piece never explained why exactly Joe Rogan's advice was so idiotic. It just dismisses him as a moron. He's crazy. Don't listen to him. He's probably a Nazi. Or worse, a Trump voter. That's MSNBC's concern. Watch.
I don't know how the right got so far ahead on creating such a political connotation around the conversation about vaccine passports. There are all sorts of things you have to do to travel to all sorts of different places. How has that debate become so corrupted so early?
I don't know, but it's bad. I live in a state that is, the state legislature is dominated by Trumpers, and they are busy making it illegal for a business to require a passport, a vaccine passport. And now they're politicizing the appropriate way to encourage people to get vaccines, which will cost lives.
It's the best. How did it get so political? Says Jeb Bush's former flack and the longtime governor of Missouri. Political. See that? All the mouth breathers, the dumb people, the hillbillies and inbreds and extra chromosome folks, the Trumpers, are all spun up with their conspiracy theories about vaccine passports. Come on. There are no vaccine passports. That's insane. It's Alex Jones stuff. And by the way, just so you know, as proof, if you want to get a job, you'll need your vaccine papers.
Although it's always challenging in society to make things mandatory, perhaps in certain employment settings, especially where there's higher risk, we may as a society decide that mandatory vaccination is a reasonable thing to do in certain circumstances.
Guys call Claire McCaskill a former senator, governor, whatever. She was a senator, I guess. Anyway, to recap, it's always challenging when you make things mandatory. Yeah, it's also sometimes unconstitutional and not science. But whatever, here's where we are right now. If you want to live in this country, you will need a vaccination. If you're the right skin color, the government will celebrate when you get that vaccination, but either way, you must get it. The vaccine works perfectly. Do not question that. Now, once you do get the vaccine, you must continue to live as if you didn't get the vaccine for the protection of people who chose not to get the vaccine. And if that bothers you, or if you have any questions about why we're doing it this way, then you were a bad person and we must hurt you. So get ready to be unemployed, if not in prison, for reckless endangerment. That's a felony. We hope that settles your concerns tonight about the available science on vaccines. So roll up your sleeve.